Brian, you maintain possession of the Bible for the fourth quarter. Let's try to hurry this up. I have a shift at Foot Locker starting in a half hour.
No one doubts it.
Your random phrase is, the chocolate ice cream emoji is my favorite.
Yeah, I don't think it's ice cream. Just saying.
Have you ever heard why Jesus died on the cross? And why did Jesus die on the cross? I know you've only had to have been to church like one time or vaguely heard about Christianity somewhere, shape, or form to know the answer. Jesus died on the cross for our sins. He died on the cross. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. But why? Why? Yeah. Yes, he did go to the cross. He spread up his arms. He took the pain and the punishment that you and I deserve for our rebelliousness. He took that so that we wouldn't have to pay that penalty ourselves and miss out with God forever. Yes, that's all true, but have you ever thought, why the cross? I mean, God didn't have to do it that way. There's any other number of ways that God could have handled your sin issues and my sin issues. Why that? I want us to consider that it was because of part of it at least was because of the physical display of passion. If you want to leave your mark, you will physically display your passion, the passion of Christ. That whole scene, dying on the cross, this showed God's passion for you, for me, his passion for truth. For you to be about leaving your mark, you've got to get physically engaged. You've got to show physical passion. Your beliefs won't do it. Your morality won't do it. Your aspirations won't do it. You've got to get physically different. Something has to change about your life. One of the more impactful books I've read over the last year is called Captain Class. It looks at the greatest sports teams of all time. And they tried to study, why are these teams the greatest? And they found the one characteristic, the only characteristic they all had in common was they had a captain, an on-field captain, that the dominance started when he or she showed up and it turned off like a light switch, boom, when they left. One of those teams highlighted as one of the best ever in any sport was the Pittsburgh Steelers of the 70s. Four out of 6 years, the Steelers won championships. I grew up in Pittsburgh at that time, and so I grew up watching this guy who was the captain, Jack Lambert. Now, if you were a Pittsburgh fan, and I don't mean just a fan, you had to be in Pittsburgh to know all this kind of stuff, you knew that Jack Lambert maybe wasn't as good as a guy who was drafted a few years after him by the name of Dirt Winston. Dirt Winston was great. Jack Lambert was there first, though, and Jack Lambert, no question, was the captain. This meant he would show his physical passion in ways that motivated the team. If he got his hands jammed between two face masks and he had a broken finger or stitches that needed to happen, when the trainers would come over, he would shove them off because he wanted the blood. And he wanted to get on his uniform so he could physically show his team, this is what we do. This is what we do. I'm not stitching myself up, and you don't stitch yourself up either. This is something where we expend ourselves. Maybe this is why Jesus expended himself on the cross. Maybe this is why the word excruciating, that you and I know excruciating, comes from the word crucifixion, which is the worst means of execution humankind has ever existed. And maybe God came to the world at exactly that moment and exactly that place because for exactly that physical passion he could show, it would rivet in our minds and change us forever. Sometimes Jesus would spit on the dirt and go down and kind of mess up his loogie with the dirt. And he would go and stick it on people's eyes. Here's one example of that, John 9:6. Having said these things, he spit on the ground and made mud with the saliva, and then he anointed the man's eyes with mud. It was just something about that physical thing that made the difference. When we do camps around here, we're really into them. Man camp, woman camp, couples camp. Our very first camp was a man camp, and we were just kind of experimenting with this thing. We picked a strange time of the year. It ended up being 15 degrees. 15 degrees, and it snowed overnight, and it was intense. And everybody who went there had physical challenge, and everybody who went there said, I wouldn't trade that for the world. In the morning, it was so cold, I was boiling my coffee, and the little canister I had, it was kind of bubbling over, and steam was happening, and unbeknownst to me, moisture was running down, and it was instantly freezing the jet boil to the little bench I was doing it on. So when it was over, I went to pull the thing to pour my coffee, and it wasn't coming, so I just kind of instinctively jerked it. When I did, I yanked it too hard, and this boiling water went all over my hand, second-degree burns, and I had to speak that morning. And people were like, oh, my gosh, I can't believe you're second-degree burns. You had your hand, like, it was this and that, and it was pussy. And I didn't think that much of it. It wasn't that bad, but it was a physical thing that people saw, like, you're really committed to this. You're really into this. And yes, Jesus is really committed to you. That's why there's the cross. And yes, he knew that if you wanted to change the world, you had to take the instruction of the cross to heart. He says this before he's crucified, before his disciples understand that he is to die on a cross, he gives this teaching. He says, if anyone would come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. For whoever would save his life will lose it, and whoever loses his life for my sake will find it. There are things that we have to lose. There are things that are real cutesy that need to drop out of our life. Even though the chocolate ice cream emoji is my favorite, it's cutesy and it needs to just drop out of my life.
Yeah, any wife with the emoji. My word.
What she's saying here, Jesus says, you've got to be willing at any moment to lose your life physically. Let me tell you something. You cannot think your way to leave your mark. Your thoughts will not cause you to leave your mark. You cannot pray your way to leave your mark. Your prayers will not leave a mark. You cannot moralize your way to leave your mark. Have prayers. Use your mind. Have high morals. I'm telling you, until you get down in the dirt and the thing that you want to do, until you bleed a little bit, until you change your life a little bit, until we all do a little dying, there isn't a mark that's left behind. And Jesus says, pick up your cross. Don't hold so tightly to your life that you can't have an impact with your life. The life of impact is one of sacrifice, and that's not philosophical sacrifice. That is physical sacrifice. Make your mark. Have physical displays of passion, and your world will be different.
Yeah, tremendous comeback from the concussion kid.
Touchdown, Team Tome. Brian, you were awarded 7 points for a great message, in addition to 3 points for use of random phrase at the last minute. That results in an end-of-game score of Team Tome 17, Team Mingo 17. But this is sports, and there's no ties in sports, so I'm giving 1 point for potential concussion and rebound. Team Tome wins the game.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
A gift.
A gift indeed.
A gift.
He knows who signs his paycheck. Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I think the ref is throwing a flag on himself.
Mark, you know, the cool thing about this is wherever you are, there are winners here today.
Yeah, last year we said we're going to do something crazy, and that is award someone a trip to this year's Super Bowl. You're going to have a chance to meet them right now. Let's take a look at the screen at the lucky winners from last year.
Hey, Crossroads, I'm Elliot, and this is Nikki and Dia.
And this guy was the big winner of last year's Super Bowl ticket giveaway.
We're so excited to be going up to Minnesota this weekend, doing a bucket list item that I've always dreamed of. Super bummed that our Steelers aren't in it. Sorry, Cincinnati fans. But we are looking forward to cheering on the Eagles and watching the Patriots go down.
Yeah. And we've heard Crossroads has something big planned for this year, so stay tuned.
Man, you know, it's amazing what a couple of Steelers jerseys will do to kill the vibe in a video.
It's overwhelming.
That's
unbelievable. Heck is going on?
Hey, do not take our word for it. Take out your phones right now because you've got a chance. We did it last year. We're going to do it again. We're going to send someone to the 2019 NFL Super Bowl. And what you got to do to enter is right now, text SB 2019, SB as in Super Bowl 2019 to 313131. You've only got 2 minutes to do this, so we're asking you to enter right now. In fact, if you're new, if this is your first or second time, when you take that survey, we're going to enter you twice. But you've got to be honest, as Brian reminds you, if you're not, you'll go to hell.
But you do have to do it right this moment. If it's after 2 minutes, no entries will be accepted. So do it right now.
Mark, we got a lot of stuff to get. We got to get it to our sites. But first, I got to know, who are you picking for the big game?
My heart is dying for the Eagles, but I think it's the Patriots.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm not even choosing a score. I just want to hear what people do when I say, I'm going Eagles. Come on.
Yeah.
Thanks for being
No
with
doubt.
us, folks. We're going to send it to your sites.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the Super Bowl today. You know, you can join us every weekend just like you did today at crossroads.net/live. We'd love for you to be a part of every weekend that we have around here. So enjoy the Super Bowl. If you're rooting for the Patriots, I forgive you. But if you're with me and you want to see the Eagles fly, go Eagles. We'll see you guys next weekend.